Okay. Yep, that's running. So let me just get, and you guys in your attendee room, you can just message me on the chat as well if you want. Just participate with and with this as much as or as little as you want. So I'm going to share the screen and just do this sort of intro. So it is okay. So I'm Nicolas David Ngan of the Centre for Conscious Ascension, and this is a divine healing webinar called Getting Into Your Flow in Life. And as you can see from the graphic there, and I'll sort of say the formal bit, then we can be pretty relaxed. So, make sure my phone is turned down. Everyone's here. Are you here to help the world? Who's here to help the world? Put your hand up if you're here to help the world. Okay, good. Thanks, Lakeria. No matter what you've tried, you still feel left behind in life. That was me most of my life. So this is a free live group healing webinar to gracefully accelerate the healing of abandonment and emotional blocks, which we all have to a greater or lesser degree, just by being in a body. And so that you can feel more connected, stable, and secure with the flow of life. And so this is a powerful process for beginners and spiritual seekers alike. So that's the intro, especially for the guys who are coming later on, watching the replay. You will all get an email with a video. So I want to find out why you guys are here, because then that'll guide me in terms of how we run this webinar. Tracy, do you want to start? You've been very brave getting up at 2 a.m. in Australia. You must be really dedicated. So tell me why you're up at 2 a.m. in the morning.
So I ultimately want to do the divine healing course, which I looked up when the next one was. I had a soul contract reading with you probably a year ago, probably this
Yep.
time last year.
Yep.
And listened to that a few times and thought it was wonderful. And then I think I just sort of got back into the normal sufferings of life. And my highest aspects just keep reminding me of this work. And I started watching the video, the recording again. And since our soul reading, I've probably upped the game a little bit in terms of my commitment to meditation and getting to addressing a lot of core wounds and I guess like abandonment and unworthiness are the two things that really come up a lot, and the same, not necessarily the same scenes, but a lot of situations just keep bringing myself to those core wounds. And I guess I watched one of your other webinars of the healing, and you had an onion up and how the ego, you sort of like I'm getting fantastic results from meditation, but I also notice how the ego are just slapping those layers back on again as I'm sort of going about life. So that's really kind of loud and clear for me. And I really want work that's going to be more definitive and, results. And I don't know, like I said, my highest aspects just keep bringing me back to your work. So here I am.
Okay, that's pretty clear. Sounds like you're very determined here. So
Yeah.
sort this out. You've come to the right place. Okay. So you guys have just arrived. If you want to join us in the panelist room where you can actually switch the video on and chat away, just put your hand up. You click on the little raised hand icon at the bottom, and I'll join you to the main room. Or just stay where you are in the attendee room if you like. You can still turn the sound on, I think. Yes, you can, and just talk from there, or just message me in the chat and I can read out what you say, whatever's comfortable for you. Okay, Katie, another brave soul from across the pond. What brought you here?
Oh, yes. I'm so excited to be here, first of all. I actually am so new to this. I found a couple of your talks on Gaia, and I watched everyone I could and went onto your website. And just something about it spoke to me. And it's just some of your message around names. And I've always had this sort of instinct that something is off with my name. And so it really just spoke to me. And so I wanted to learn more. I bought your book, hoping it comes in today so I can read it. But a little bit more about that is I'm a psychologist and I work in complex trauma. I practice a model called internal family systems, and it's a beautiful model that allows us to access what's called self, which is more, I conceptualize it more as our contact with the divine or our soul.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful. And I've been privileged to witness other people's healing and experience my own healing. And again, there's more to do, and I'm excited about that. There's a couple pieces that are blocked for me, and some of it is around some core wounds of abandonment, similar to Tracy, and feelings of worthiness. And it keeps kind of popping back up, and I'm, despite the deep work and lots of meditation practice and stuff. So my intention of going deeper for myself is obviously for my deeper connection to my purpose. But I believe my purpose is to reach as many people as I can and help support as many people as I can in their healing and finding that sort of access to their soul and their own self-love. And so I feel like the deeper I go and the deeper understanding I have, the more I can give back. And so that's why I'm here.
That's pretty clear. Yeah, I've come across internal family systems before, so I think you're in the right place. I've tried most therapies, most trauma therapies, pretty much everything on this journey of 30 odd years. I think the divine healing.
Could I just mention something to Katie? I've actually been doing that work with a practitioner for the last 3 months, and working with Dr. Richard Swartz. I've got his book and I've been listening to his audiobook. And yeah, I just wanted to comment that I've been doing that also with trauma stuff, and it's fantastic. But yeah, I really love it.
Yeah, thank you, Tracy. Your divine healing will take you from the left to the right brain. It'll take you into the 90% below the emotional iceberg of the stuff which you can still feel niggling at you. So it'll go. It's very much about moving into a feeling space, and I'll show you just so it relates to your experience. Okay. All right. Let me find it. Just okay. So you've got some context here. So here is Tracy's ego onion, which we've shown before. So the soul contract, which you mentioned, Katie, creates the ego onion. The sounds of your name create your whole ego structure and your whole reality. That's what we call your holographic matrix. So you understand how they two work together. And the idea is to have your soul
I'm not sure if other people can't hear you, but I think you're muted.
I can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now? How long was I out there? I clicked the wrong button.
As soon as you
10
click
seconds.
it on the screen.
Okay, so basically, originally you were coming from source in the 12th dimension, and source wanted to know itself. So it spent a lot of time thinking about it, but then it realized it needed to have a feeling experience of itself. So it created an out-breath of itself. It densified parts of itself all the way down to the third dimension till we got here. And the little spark of source here is called your soul. I'm going to change the color. And we got so far removed that we forgot that we came from here. We into complete forgetfulness. And the ego construct created by the soul, based upon the sounds of your name with the soul contract work, creates this holographic matrix, your soul contract. The set of vibrations in your name create your entire reality because they're in your energy fields, in your DNA, and basically they radiate out to the matrix here. If you've seen the film, it's pretty close to what's going on. I don't think you're sitting in a tank of goo though. And it creates your reality. And our job is to awaken and remember there's got a lot more to it than paying the bills, mortgages, getting the kids through college, or all the other stuff that we do, to actually getting back to source, which is called ascension. That's why we're here. So the meaning of life, getting really profound now, is to awaken and have a feeling journey back to God in a spiritual sense. Okay? I say that because there's a very big North American audience. It's nothing to do with Christianity or anything like that. Nothing wrong with Christianity, but it's nothing to do with that. So source, great spirit, all it is. So the soul contract creates this illusion of being separate from God with this ego, with specific filter, so you experience reality in a certain way. And the purpose of divine healing is to dissolve what the soul contract has created, so you can get back to the essence of you, which is here, the pure love of the soul. That's essentially what the two technologies are designed to do. And the soul contract is based upon the sounds of God, 22 sounds of God, ancient Hebrew, that sit in us and create our reality. And divine healing also comes from source, because everything that can be learnt in this third dimension has been learnt. So therefore, it's time to have an in-breath of source. This is an out-breath. Now we're in the middle of an in-breath, which is called ascension. And divine healing is designed to help you in that process. Get back home. That's the big picture of why we are here, why you are alive. And the purpose and the meaning of life is to have a very specific pathway to follow to get back to source. And you, as a spark of source, learn through visceral emotional experience, which is why it's so intense down here. And in that way, you are a spark of the Creator, creating each moment of your life. It's not some entitled old white guy sitting in a throne with a big beard in heaven. That's not the Creator. You are the Creator creating through your process of life. That pretty much says everything, I think. We can go home now. Does that help, Katie?
It does, yeah. Thank you for explaining that. And I find that listening to this, it aligns so nicely with the work of IFS, the concept of self and the qualities of self. It really does remind me so much of the qualities of what we've always learned the divine is: compassionate and confident and calm and healing. And so I was just really drawn to this in more of a spiritual way rather than just scientifically. So I'm just excited to meld those two together and make it more of a psycho-spiritual model.
Yeah. So what we're doing to continue is that we are diving into the mud of our ego patterns, our karma. And karma is only there so we can learn. It comes from past lives, most of it. Things we haven't resolved previously with a different personality in a different lifetime. Most people avoid getting into the mud because it's mucky, smelly, and dirty, and they just want the lotuses of life. But you've got to dive into the karmic patterns in order to bring consciousness to them, to transmute them, to grow the good stuff in life. Because it's all one and the same. We go from this polarity of dark or mud to light. And the journey of transmuting this karma, which is why we have divine healing, that's the purpose of it, is to feel all the layers of the darkness, emotional darkness in us, all these layers of onion here, And then as we feel them and peel them, we grow the lotuses, all the good stuff. Okay. And there is no shortcut, no matter what any North American website may promise you, if you pay them a lot of money. There is no shortcut here. You've got to do your work. And only those who are prepared to do their work will actually grow the lotuses. The rest will be gravely disappointed. Okay, so we don't offer any shortcuts here. Okay, so I'm still getting used to this thing. So we go back up to here. I just want to give more context to what you requested there, Katie. If you have a constellation of family dynamics, there's a, I don't know, mother, mom, dad, kid 1, kid 2. Okay. These souls agree to come in at a very specific time, in a specific way, with specific contracts, to form a family constellation of energy. So it's a very specific interaction, so they learn off each other. It's all prearranged. And so there's a whole bunch of karmic stuff running within each individual and between each individual. They're triggering each other and helping each other as well. So the soul contract work, which is level 2, helps you understand the relationships between people. So we'll give you the deepest structure, underlying structure of family dynamics, and make your life a lot easier. So you're not dealing with what's presenting, you're dealing with what's creating the very symptoms or what you're dealing with, which means you're going to get there about 5 times faster. See, so it's not about inquiry or discovery. It's like, oh, this is the point. When people, this is what's really going on. When people acknowledge that, then they're over halfway there. So you save yourself, everyone, a lot of time and money and energy, and they get much better results. It's a summary of what level 2 will do for you. Level 1 will explain what an individual does. Level 2 explains this entire dynamic. Okay, so you can blend that with your current practice, which is what a lot of, we get lots of psychotherapists and business consultants and all sorts of people come because they want the underlying structure. So they know there's something more, just like you know there's something more. Someone's hiding it from you. Well, this is me showing you. It's an underlying soul agreements and dynamics, and we can explain every minute detail of what's going on in the interaction with the system. And that means that once a client buys into it, which they do pretty quick because they mightn't like it, but they will buy into it because they've had enough pain, as you probably observed a lot in your practice, then you can actually come up with strategies. We teach you recommendations on how you resolve the conflicts. Okay, some can be resolved, some can't. Sometimes you have to reposition people. Sometimes some people have to get divorced. No point hanging on because it's never going to work. And then within that, we infuse the divine healing to clear these interactions, all the stuff that's triggered. That's how the two go together. Okay, so there's a hybrid between divine healing and soul contract for your practice. With the soul contract, we'll give you the absolute structure and deepest underlying structure, because it's the frequencies of God creating each person's reality and the family reality. Once you understand that and they understand that, then you use the divine healing to clear out all the mucky stuff going on. And everyone's a lot happier as a result. How's that sound? How's that sound?
It sounds good. And I suspect it also allows for a little more meaning making rather than a sense of I'm suffering with my circumstances and don't understand why, but rather I can make meaning out of why I'm here and why I'm suffering, which can be so healing.
But totally, well, it gives you complete spiritual context of why this is happening. And it breaks through all the illusions of the ego, which tries to hide all this, as you know. It basically demolishes the ego with love, and it can't play its games anymore. And then each individual can get on with their lives and in their relationships in a much more conscious way and enhance each other rather than fighting each other. Because basically you're running blind otherwise. You don't know what's going on. Most people go around with a blindfold on their entire life and come back and do it again. Whereas this takes it off. This gives you the spiritual roadmap. Okay, here's what we're here to do as a family dynamic. Okay, yeah, some of it's not great, but at least we know what's going on. Therefore, we can do something about it. rather than getting maybe 5% and having no idea what the other 95% is, which is probably what you deal with all the time in your practice, which is hard for them and frustrating for you as well, because you know there's a lot more to it. This is what this work can do. Okay. All right. Okay. So someone said to me here, anonymous attendee, who's that? Can someone just put your hand up so I know who that is? Someone said to me in the questions, I'm ready to serve humanity and have been asking God, my guides, my galactic team to help me do what I came here on Earth to do. And asking that, I realize I am to release a lot of my identity that I've been holding on to. That's the ego, yeah. Your soul contract work has inspired me to honor my name, and through my name, I've received a ton of information on the direction, but I'm still piecing together the puzzle. Yeah, the soul contract work is just the beginning of getting a grip on what's going on. It's important. This is why we have divine healing, though. It's important to work with whatever layer of this ego onion is presenting at any given moment. Okay, because the soul, what it will do is that it will decide on a given day, okay, we're going to work on a certain issue in the contract. I'm going to work on this layer of the onion. I want to peel that off. I'm going to bring it up in your face and I'll work on it. So divine healing, we just work with whatever's coming up in the moment. It's not something we work out. It's where we align to the higher self. We're going to practice it a little bit later. And the higher self decides, okay, I want to peel this layer, then I want to peel this layer. And I'm gradually it's going to work its way down to it completely dissolves the ego. And it's not something under our control, because divine healing is based upon the principle of ask and you shall receive. Because it's a free will zone down here. And if you don't want to grow, you can just stay as you are and come back repeatedly and do it. If you do want to grow and you ask the higher self, it will respond. But God gives us the free will to do whatever we want down here. Ultimately, the journey for the soul is to move as far away, having moved as far away from source as possible here, is to find our way back in our own good time. This can take a very long time. And the purpose of karma is to nudge us. When we do things which are out of alignment with what we call a spiritual signature, what opens our heart in each moment from spirit, from source, we get feedback. So if you do particularly bad things in the world, the universe is going to come and give you a bit of a strong hint, to the point of a sledgehammer, if you don't pay attention, to get you back in line. Ultimately wants to get you back, coax you back to source. But you've got to choose to do it. Okay, that's the purpose of karma. It's not meant to be punishment, it's just learning. And the divine healing clears the karmic stuff that comes up on that journey to get there. Okay. All right. So anyone else want to check in? Any other guys in the attendee room? You can just put your message in the chat, and I'll read it out. Anyone else want to check in? Or I'm going to keep going, saying what you need from this. Or you can just switch your sound on the bottom and just talk to me. It's up to you guys. Yeah. Anyone else? Okay. All very quiet. We'll continue then. Okay. So, what are these separation patterns that I've been talking about? They are the following. When you, just gonna get my pen up here. When you choose to leave source and come here to grow, okay, especially when you come into a body, there are three primary patterns set up in the ego. They are abandonment by God, unworthiness to be loved by God, and mistrust of God, in some unique combination. And we're going to work on abandonment by God today. And the other webinars I do are about working on unworthiness to be loved by God and mistrust of God. So you'll be drawn to the one which is strongest for you, which is this one by the sounds of it. Okay. So if you can resolve these, clear these, like in this case with divine healing, then you get back to God eventually. You've cleared that illusory separation from God and the ego. Okay, right? So let's talk a bit more about this. So what does the normal human ego do when it's faced with this? You popped out of your mother, you feel separate from God, abandoned, it's cold, not very friendly, this reality. What happens? So most people avoid their negative feelings about being separate, like not trusting in God, being abandoned, unworthy. And we go off and get addicted, just busy with life. Okay. When we start to make a bit more progress, okay, we tend to judge it, feel bad about the program, and therefore when we do that, we tend to lock in the program because we've said it's a bad program. Okay. And the third way, which is divine healing, is that if you can own and resonate the program and own it, no matter what it is, just accept it unconditionally and bring feeling consciousness to the program and find its origin, where it comes from, then you're most of the way there to clearing the program. And that layer of the onion is going to peel off and you'll be free of it. So it's a very non-intuitive process to the ego. Okay, so, but it can be learned. Okay.
Yeah, I just have a question about finding the origin. Like I said, I've done a lot of internal family systems work where it really explores the ego deeply and some of these experiences that we have all the way back to childhood and witnessing those, making contact with the emotions to allow that release and allow more contact to source and healing through source. But again, part of the reason I'm here is this sort of end point that I've got to where I have parts of me and parts of my ego, you could conceptualize them as, that are, they don't have stories when I ask to be witnessed. And so my question around origin is around past life. Do we carry this forward?
Well, there are many different places that you can, that can be the origin. I'll show you. I just need to stop sharing the screen just to call up. I need to call up a manual here to show you something. It's easier if I just do it without the screen share because it slows it down a lot. Yeah. So there's many more origins than just past lives, Katie. I'll find it here. Where's it gone? Yeah, here we are. I think that is the latest one. Yes, there it is. It's going to load up a manual and I'll show you. It's just opening up now. I'll share the screen when I found the page. Here we are. Yeah, got it. Okay, so I'll show you a Divine Healing Level 1 manual here. And so in Divine Healing Level 1, should come up in a minute. You see that? Yeah, okay. So there are 26 charts in Divine Healing Level 1, channel from source. And this is the original time chart. Oops, it's gone and made some weird stuff here. And so in Divine Healing, we actually number map. We'll align to the higher self with what's called an opening process. I've aligned all you guys to it already. And what happens is that when we're looking at programs, as part of finding a program, we look for original time. And we just ask for a number 1 to 24, and the higher self just downloads a number into your head, and that's the number. Okay, so it could be 5, for example, parallel life. So here are your past lives in this dimension, other dimensions. Things can happen in this life. Things can happen from this life in the future. It can come from parallel lives. For example, have you seen Sliding Doors with Gwyneth Paltrow, the movie? Well, this is a parallel split. She gets on the tube here, and she doesn't get on the tube here. So 2 lives play out. So this is Gwyneth Paltrow on the tube here, but her not missing the tube can be having a different experience over here. And what happens is that this life can affect that life, that parallel life. It's got a parallel bleed through. Okay, so there's lots of different places. It could be a parallel universe. You get alternate universes, different types of realities with different rules. Things can happen before this world was formed, prior to 4.7 billion years or whenever it was. Things happen at preconception and conception in the womb and at birth. Things can happen in the future because there's no time ultimately. You can be here. This could be another life in the future that can affect you here because this is all happening at once, but your perception is here. Things can happen at the dream state, between lives. A lot of stuff comes from our ancestors. If there's death or transitions in the family, that can have a major impact. There are things like feeling like you're adopted, which is what most light workers have. It can come from the point of creation of this universe. It can come from the fall from grace when we fell from the 4th dimension to the 3rd dimension to here. So a lot of things can impact us. So the bit you're accustomed to is only this bit up here. There's a lot of other influences which are not we're not conscious of, which have a very significant impact. So when we're doing divine healing, we very much use this chart a lot to actually find out where it comes from. Because when you can acknowledge where it comes from, you unpin it. It's anchored in a certain place in time, space, and dimension. You actually unpin that program and can dissolve it because you've got consciousness. So this happened at 3 weeks into the pregnancy, for example. Mother fell down the stairs. Okay. Might drive a program, I don't feel safe. Who knows? But you would never know that unless but the higher self knows everything and it will just tell you. Does that give you a feel for it? So we can unpin, we can basically dismantle a lot of stuff because we're getting behind the curtain, Katie, to what's really created it. And you'd never find it otherwise.
It's eye-opening. I had no idea. I mean, past life, we've heard of that. I also work with legacies in IFS as well. You can work with ancestral burdens that are passed down in legacies. But all of the rest of this stuff, I'm very curious as to how one would work with that. But thank you.
Oh, you're guided. We follow what's called the spiritual signature in divine healing. You align to your higher self, the part of you not in the body, and it just basically tells you the answers because you asked. But because you're in an altered state, I will put you all in the state before you turned up. You're very aligned to it, and then it's just going to give you the answer. It's actually quite simple, really. But it's not about using the left brain at all. It's about just relaxing to the feminine right brain side, just letting the answers come to you. Okay. There's nothing to figure out with divine healing. It's about opening and asking and receiving whatever our higher self wants to give you. Because it can get you back to source if you just surrender to it enough. Okay.
Thank you.
There's nothing to understand about the way you're built. It's more about opening in each moment. There's a way forward, okay, with this. Okay. Right. Okay. So just want to clear the screen here. Get back to the presentation. Okay. So if anyone else has any questions, guys in the attendee room, just put your hand up or just unmute and just ask away if you want. So how do we do this? How does this work? What we do is that we have a willingness, desire, and courage to clear our issues. This is the first requirement of healing. So we identify the issue, which is the big red dot, and we bring feeling consciousness to the issue, because what you feel, you can heal. So this is our feeling consciousness, the sky blue stuff. So what we're doing is that we're basically expanding our feeling consciousness into the space like that. And all the soul wants you to do is feel that issue. And when you've felt enough, the issue will dissolve. It's all it wants. It wants you to work through disempowerment or unworthiness or lack of trust or abandonment or whatever it is. It's all it wants you to do. So we bring feeling consciousness to the program. So you must be able to feel your emotions with this. And then what happens is this. The ego is aware of what you're trying to do. It's not so happy about that idea because it's very attached to hanging on to these programs and keeping you separate from God. So what it does is this. It puts this layer of frozenness around us, numbs us out. What you can't feel, you can't heal. And in the West, we've learned to control our emotions with our prefrontal cortex. You notice how a lot of people say, I think I feel this. It's because the ego's saying, no way are you going to get in here. I'm gonna push you away. Okay. Because it wants to hang on to the programs to see if you can break through it. It used to be we didn't have an ego when we first came to Earth. We're very connected to Source. But then no one did anything because there was no sense of wanting to get home because we were home. You see, so then the ascended masters changed the way we were built, so we would feel separate and forget. Then it got interesting because then people, humans, were trying to find their way home because they knew something wasn't right here. Yeah, so the first experiments of incarnate life didn't go so well in terms of learning. Okay, so trial and error. So what we do with divine healing is that we bring our feeling consciousness to gently, with love, break through the defenses of the ego. We start feeling things. And in the training, because we're in a group, it's a very safe space. You often go much deeper than you would by yourself or just with a one-on-one. And you work with each other to work on peeling your ego onion in the right order. And so what we do in the training is we go through this manual. We're going to do some of these shortly. We go through this manual of 26 charts over 4 days. It's about empowering yourself. Almira Ariel Hilaire used to run the center with me. She created this with Shakira and Mary. Yeah, they're two kinesiologists. She's a top medical doctor. Okay. And basically we teach you how to go through all of these charts here. And so what I do in the training is that I explain the theory of each chart. It's a simple enough chart, which is some of them are. I just do the chart on everybody. It's a more complex chart. I demonstrate on someone in the class. And then everyone has a theory, that the demonstration. Then you go off into Zoom breakout rooms, little into rooms just where you are with your practice partner, and you give and receive the treatment, which is how you learn it. So we spend 4 days doing this healing process, a very powerful healing process. It's a 4-day healing intensive where you get the healing of every chart you do and everyone else does. Plus you learn how to do it. So you can deliver the treatment to other people or just work on yourself, or both. That's actually what we do in the training. So there's a whole range of stuff here, and we're going to cover a few of these today. Okay. We're going to cover the following. We're going to cover energy interference here. Okay. And that comes from these guys. Comes from here. Comes from these astral beings, the lower end of the astral plane. There are 10 octaves in a dimension. These astral beings prevent us from connecting to source, connecting to higher consciousness, to keep us feeling separate from God. So we're going to blow a hole through that to open to your higher self, and then you better get clearer guidance. That's the first thing we're going to do. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to feel we're going to feel whatever comes up within you regarding main low frequency programs that are causing the abandonment. Okay, and then we're going to clear some past life, not necessarily deaths. We're going to adjust this chart to clear past life issues. I'm going to adapt that chart, which are holding that abandonment in place. Then we're going to do a bit of nutrition, which is specific frequencies to integrate the strong release which happens with these. That's what we're going to do now. Okay, so let's get back to the presentation. So, done that. So what we're doing here is this. We're helping you move from a small limited human being here, the little ego that thinks it knows everything, that knows nothing, to expanding into the vastness of spirit. That's what this work does. It expands your consciousness. So we're moving from this dotted line here, which is the path of suffering, which most 99% of humans are on this path and never leave it. Following the path of the ego. And divine healing dissolves this ego so you can then start to follow the path of spirit. This is called the spiritual signature. This is how you get into the flow in your life. And the spiritual signature is based on the idea that in each moment is one right action that opens your heart the most. If you slowly converge on this, which takes practice, then your life starts to flow effortlessly. Because if you're in the right place in the right moment and say the right thing and open to whatever the universe is giving you, because it wants to give you everything, just the ego prevents it coming, then you are in the flow of your life. You're living the path, you're on the path of bliss. So dissolving the ego is the critical thing, and opening your consciousness is the key to getting into the flow. Okay, that's the key to living a happier life, basically. It's probably the most important diagram I'm going to show you. But this is what we do with divine healing. So we move from the left brain to the right brain, move into the feminine, and just be present entirely 100% in the moment. Learn to let go of the past, not to worry about the future. Be grounded and present, because then the gift of the present, which is the flow of life of the universe, will really come to you. That's the aim of divine healing. So you're living in this flow all the time. Okay. Okay. Right. Any questions on that?
I have questions. I always have lots of questions.
You always have lots of questions. I figured that out. Go for it.
When we're on the path that you were speaking of on the bottom there, where most of us tend to live our lives, are there experiences that we have in life that sort of provide us an opportunity to get off that, or it's kind of just feels like a kick in the gut that just throws us off, like the universe trying to push you off to get you onto that other line?
Trying to get you over here.
Yeah.
All the time. It's trying to get you back to the flow, ultimately back to God. That's what life's trying to do. But most people don't pay a lot of attention to it. Hence, there's a lot of suffering in the world. So God provided tools like this to help you get there faster. These tools are here. And you only get exposed to these tools if you're ready for it. Most people are not ready for this sort of thing. Okay? This is how we get home to God. It's how we ascend. Yeah. So when the more engaged you are on this path, the more karma you've cleared, the kicks are a lot less, because you know to pay attention. You know not to ignore the gentle push from spirit, because if you ignore it, the gentle push gets a bit stronger and a bit stronger until you actually get it, as most of you probably noticed. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions there? I'll put it in the chat if you guys want to. No? Okay. So, right. Well, let's just do some, shall we? Let's have a direct experience of divine healing, okay? It's probably the quickest way to do this. All right. So, let me just want to get my other chart up here. So what I want you guys to do is feel, imagine yourself, visualize and feel in your heart what it will be like to feel more connected and in the flow. Fake it till you make it sort of stuff. So you come to clear the abandonment and emotional blocks. But I want you to lean back from the vertical, so you're more in the feminine. Because if you're leaning forward, it means that you are, the mental body's cut and it's trying to say, what's he talking about? What's all this stuff? This makes no sense. I'm in control here. There's nothing logical about this. I'm always going to be like this. I'm always going to be stuck. Never going to get back to God. All the noise that ego makes. And lean back off the vertical into the feminine. And just imagine yourself in your heart being more connected to God and source, more stable and secure, and you're just in the flow of life. Things are just unfolding. Okay? They're just unfolding. I just want you to get to that state first. Okay? What we're doing is that we're going to trigger the ego, guys. We're simply going to ambush it a bit. Because most humans, including me, most of our lives, we focus on all the things which aren't working. Because that's what the ego is throwing at us. And because we focus on what's not working, we get more of it. Probably 2 or 3 times more than we really needed. Okay? So what I'm teaching you here is to focus on what you desire to create. Okay? And if we focus on that, we then starve the ego of our life force to create all the stuff we don't want. And because if we focus on what we do want, what then happens is the ego goes, oh no, we can't have that. It starts to, all its programs, the hidden programs, 90% of what it's carrying, which is hidden in the subconscious, starts to emerge into our consciousness. And therefore is vulnerable to us, to our feeling consciousness, so we can then transmute it. So this is what we're going to do now. So anything which is preventing you, any of the abandonment and emotional blocks, we're going to trigger them to come so you can feel them. And if you're feeling emotionally uncomfortable, that's perfect. That means it's working. But first off, we're going to clear a bunch of the interference, which is disconnecting you from source, so you can get some better answers about for the main lower frequency program part of the chart, part of the process. So I'm going to clear some interferences first. Okay. First interferences I'm going to clear are earthbound souls. So you may feel things moving in your body on the surface, or you may feel a bit altered by this. Just note it, it just means these energies are leaving. I'll be doing this quietly, okay? I'm doing what I call command codes. And command codes, when we command the universe to do something, it will do it. As long as we're aligned to the higher self and we believe it. Okay, so here we go. Clearing some earthbound soul. These are beings who've left a physical body, but they're hanging out with you because you're carrying similar programs to their previous physical body that they were embodied in. And they're feeding off your life experience, and they're actually in the way. So here we go. You feel the energy shift as these beings leave. You might want to yawn. I want to yawn. Burp. Body may want to make gurgling sounds. You may feel really tired because it's hard work carrying these beings. Yawning happens a lot like this. We're going to thank the angels for their help and assistance with this. And the next group of beings we're going to release are extraterrestrial presences. Nothing to worry about here. They're hanging out. They're vibrating at a slightly higher level. They're hanging out because they're really interested in how our emotions work. A lot of them have lost the use of them, and they need to move back into the feeling side of themselves to ascend. because ascension is all about love. So we're going to remove them, and the very fact that they're observing us through the law of relativity is they're actually impacting, affecting us. So it's not actually learning something. It's not exactly a neutral observation that's going on here. So here we go. We're going to remove these guys. If you will shift, those beings have gone. A layer of those beings have gone now. Now we're going to release discarnates, entities, and attachments, basically everything else that may be hanging out in your fields or in your body. Okay. If you will shift, these beings are leaving. Okay. So the interferences are cleared now, which is going to give you a clearer connection to your higher self. So now I want you to focus on being in the flow. Don't worry about how you're going to get there. Okay? Let the universe work this out. Remember, you are a spark of the divine. You are the creator, creating, even though your ego may not believe that. But the more you believe that, the more powerful this is. Imagine yourself, you're in the flow of life. You're feeling very connected, stable, and secure. Okay? So you're in your final state in the future. Visualize it and feel it in your heart. Breathe through your mouth into this. This is very important because it keeps you in the body. The ego will want to you to breathe through the nose to stay in your head because it doesn't want you to feel a thing. Okay, so what we're doing is that we're bringing feeling consciousness to whatever is within you, preventing you being in the flow. So we're going to break through the feeling, the abandonment probably in this case. Yeah. Breathing deep into your body. I'm aware of whatever programs come up for you. Without going into a big story, and breathe more deeply into all the parts of the program. Expand your feeling consciousness into it, the places you may have never been before. And let yourself open to all aspects of this feeling, preventing you getting there, into that state of flow. I'm aware of any attachment your ego has to hanging on to this feeling. I'm aware of any feelings of being bad for having it. And most importantly, any judgment your ego has of having that program. And the more you can open to it, the more it can integrate and heal. Now we're going to do, now you've felt the program, now we're going to clear it. Okay. So I want everyone to turn their microphones on. because we're going to say these command codes together out loud. It's more powerful if you can hear each other. Okay. It's only if you want to. It's very powerful, this. So we're going to work on the male low frequency program chart. All right. And we are going to clear these. Okay. So we're going to do this command code here. I've done all the stuff at the top already. So these command codes, you need to be very present with them. It's not just words which you say. Okay, you are a spark of the divine. You are God commanding the universe to do something. And the more you believe that, as best you can, the more powerful this is going to be. We're going to use Saint Germain, one of the Ascended Masters, to do this. So I'll say this to you in bite-sized chunks, okay? And we're going to say it and one part at a time and let each piece activate, okay? So it's not about rushing here. So repeat after me. We command Saint Germain.
We command Saint Germain
To pour the purple flame.
to pour the purple flame
Through the aura and subtle bodies.
through the aura and subtle bodies
To burn away.
to burn away
All low frequency energies.
all low frequency energies
That we have discovered.
that we have discovered.
So that new higher level vibrations.
That new high level vibrations
Can be accessed, accepted, and encoded.
can be accessed, accepted, and encoded.
Okay, so just pause there and let that happen. Okay, Jermaine's getting his act together. That's done. Next line of the command code. Saint Germain and higher self.
Saint Germain and higher self.
Saint Germain and higher self.
Please burn out in one go.
Please burn
Please
out
burn
in one
out
go.
in one go.
100% the core issue.
100% the core issue
100% the core issue
Through all levels and dimensions.
through all levels and dimensions.
through all levels and dimensions.
100% the original cause.
100% the original cause
100% the
Through all levels
original
and
cause.
dimensions.
through all levels and dimensions.
Through all levels and dimensions.
100% the source of its power.
100% the source of its power
100% the source of its power.
Through all levels and dimensions.
through all levels and dimensions.
Through all levels and dimensions.
100% all energy attached.
100% all
100%
energy
all energy attached.
Through all levels and dimensions.
through all levels and
Through all
dimensions.
levels and dimensions.
100% all of its effects.
100% of all its
100% of all
effects
of its effects.
Through all levels and dimensions.
through all levels
Through
and
all
dimensions.
levels and dimensions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When we express gratitude, it opens a direct connection to source. It bypasses our ego completely, then amazing things can happen. Feel the shift. Okay, so we'll just let that settle. So a layer of whatever's blocking you getting in the flow is just being dissolved by the higher self. Right. So now we're going to clear some past life programming, also blocking you getting into the flow. So staying connected in your heart with being in the flow, the final state of being in the flow. And we're going to adapt this past life death chart. We're not going to do the death thing here. We're just going to say traumatic lifetimes here. And so just stay focused on being in the flow and connected and stable. And set the intention that whatever past life, traumatic past lives that have created this sense of abandonment, which are blocking you being in the flow, that they come up in your energy fields. Basically, we're opening up the past life files in your fields, which are contributing to the block in the flow. Because I reckon about 70–80% of what we have to go through comes from all our past lives. It's actually nothing to do with this life at all. Okay, now repeat after me, bite-sized chunks. And yeah, if you look clairvoyantly in your mind's eye behind you, you'll see the white little trails of energy going back. And now they're the linkages to those past lives. So, higher self, please clear, heal, and integrate
Higher self, please clear, heal, and integrate
all these files and memories,
all these
All
files
these
and
files
memories,
and memories,
including all cellular memories,
including
including
cellular
all cellular memories,
the DNA and the subatomic levels,
the
the
DNA and the
DNA
subatomic
and
levels.
subatomic levels.
I am now ready
I am now ready
I'm now ready
to heal all traumatic lifetimes
to heal all traumatic lifetimes
at all levels and dimensions,
at all
at all
levels and
levels
dimensions,
and dimensions,
all time frames, realities, and universes.
all time frames, realities, and universe.
realities, and universes.
So we're going to pause there to let that happen, because it takes a little while. Can't rush the universe. The energy's sort of busy for a while, then it sort of calms down. Okay, it's ready now. I command
I command
that any soul fragments
any soul fragments
held with these memories
held with these memories
are now returned to me,
now return to me,
fully whole and intact,
fully whole and intact
as appropriate.
as appropriate.
I welcome these soul fragments back.
I welcome these soul fragments back.
A little pause there. So parts of us shatter, which is why some people don't feel like they're all there, because they really aren't. Whatever they've been through is fragmented the soul. We bring all those sensitive parts of us back. Okay, I command that the whole holographic matrix
I command that the whole holographic matrix
be repaired
be repaired
through all layers and levels
through all layers and levels
and brought into full alignment,
and brought into full alignment,
integration, and balance
integration, and balance
to allow for wholeness to emerge.
to allow for wholeness to emerge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So remember, the holographic matrix is you, as created by your body and the energy fields, as created by your soul contract, as we were saying at the very beginning of the webinar, and the subjective bubble of holographic reality around you that's creating. So it's everything that you are, everything you perceive. It's all just it's all ultimately an illusion. You're just experiencing this as if it's real. We're repairing that entire holographic matrix. Let me say thank you. And then we embrace the shift. Okay, so that can be quite a lot of stuff went on there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do the nutrition chart. And when we dismantle the ego with love, which is what we're doing here, we have to help integrate the changes, because we don't want to destabilize the ego. We want to gradually, with love, take it apart and then free ourselves of these old programs. So nutrition, energetic nutrition, is the frequency of, in this case, we have amino acids, we have 26 of them, essential fatty acids, and we have minerals and vitamins. So you need to open your eyes for this bit. Okay. Let's look on the screen. So I need to probably blow this up a little bit, enlarge this. Just got to find the enlargement thing. Okay. So first we have to figure out which one is it, amino acids, essential fatty acids, or minerals and vitamins. So we're going to do a little number mapping. So the way we do this is instead of trying to pick a letter, A, B, C, or D, I want you to pick a number 1, between 1 and 4. 1 will be A, 2 will be B, 3 will be C, 4 will be D. So I'm just going to say pick a number 1 to 4. And whatever number comes in your head, that's the number, write it down. It's important to close your eyes here. It's the first number that matters. After that, it's just the ego messing around with you, okay? So everyone close your eyes and just follow the command I give you now. Pick a number 1 to 4. Write that down. And that's the one to write down, no matter what the ego does. So if you got 1, those who got 1, which is A, keeping your eyes closed now, pick a number 1 to 26 and write that down. And that'll be your amino acid. And you don't even need to be able to pronounce this or know what it does. It'll be the correct frequency. Okay, write down your amino acid, whatever that was. Those who got 2 or B, these are essential fatty acids. Keeping your eyes closed, pick a number 1 to 20 and write it down. Whatever fatty acid was chosen by the higher self. Those who got 3, which is equivalent to C, pick a number 1 to 22 and write it down. Deirdre, you can't see the screen. I'm gonna stop the screen share and do it again if you can't see it. Yeah, just re-share the screen. I don't know why it didn't do that. Okay, so Deirdre, can you see the screen now? Just give me a message in the chat.
Yes, I can see it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. All right. So those who got 4, okay, which is D's vitamins, pick a number 1 to 27, write it down. Okay. Some of these are very long names. Mary and Shakira were kinesiologists, so they had a lot of big lists. And they channeled us through over about a year when they developed this. Actually put it together. This was back in 2006 when we started. Because Mira and I have been looking for a powerful tool to clear our own separation patterns. And then in the end, she developed her own thing for us. Okay. Because we couldn't find what we wanted. So microphones on, everybody. So your particular nutritional frequency has gone to what we call a divine healing stack. Just through your intention, your nutrition has gone into the stack. You don't even have to remember which one it was. It's already in there through intention. And together we're going to say this command code, and it's going to take this, whatever that nutrition was, it's going to infuse it through your crown chakra into you, and it's then going to propagate through your entire physical and energetic bodies to help integrate what you've just done. Okay, so repeat after me, bite-sized chunks. Higher self, please encode these nutrients. Start again. Higher self, please encode this nutrient.
Higher self, please
Higher
include
self, please include this nutrient.
In the perfect balance.
the perfect balance
Perfect balance.
That is required.
that is
That is
required,
required.
And clear and align all pathways.
and clear and aligned.
Clear and
all
align
pathways.
all pathways
For maximum assimilation,
Maximum
for
assimilation,
maximum assimilation,
absorption,
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 and utilization.
and
and
utilization.
utilization.
Okay, it's going to infuse into your system now. Oh, I can feel that going to me. Feel the shift. Takes a minute or two. Let me say thank you, everybody. It's very important. It's not a cursory thank you. It's like you really feel grateful to Source for infusing this into you. Okay, so you now have integrated the effect of them clearing the main low frequency program, which was blocking the flow, and the associated past lives. Okay, so you should feel a little more integrated. Sometimes you can feel a bit fragmented because this can be quite strong. Okay. All right. So that's your little taste of divine healing, people. So I'd just be interested to hear how you felt through that. Who would like to share how they felt? Our brave
I'll
soul.
share.
Chair.
Trace,
Go ahead, Tracy.
who's going to go first? Tracy, you go.
Yep. So, well, at the moment, I feel like I'm on a little bit of a bubble, so I feel really light. Um, through the process, the leading up to sort of doing the clearing, like I was getting lots of heart palpitations and like my whole and like really sort of heart down to solar plexus was just like pumping really hard. Um, and then kind of like I felt that leave, and then it was just like this aliveness, and then just before we did the nutrients, I was really like light and quite dizzy. But since we did the nutrient stuff, I feel light but not dizzy.
Yeah. Your system was a little jangled by what you cleared because it wasn't
Yeah, yeah.
expecting you to do that, you see.
No, it didn't. I don't think it wanted it. I felt like there was a resistance there, but it just kind of broke away, and yeah, I could feel it dissolving.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is asking you shall receive, and we gently, lovingly dismantle the ego. So, Katie, how was that?
It was really interesting. Before you started clearing, I felt fear, quite a bit of it in my chest.
Yeah.
Then you did your two clearings, and this sort of stillness overcame me, and I sort of saw blue, like the color blue behind my eyes. And it was just this deep calm. And then I think when you went to the past life one, I got massive waves of nausea coming up through my stomach and into my throat. And there was like a lump in my throat, and then pressure in my head, and the dizziness, similar to Tracy. And then a bit of a warm sensation coming down through my head when you did the nutrition one. But then, mind you, there's still a little bit of pressure up in my head. So that sort of remained, but I feel calmer in my body, but my head and throat still feel a little bit like pressure and headachy. Interesting.
Yeah, you had the nausea is disempowerment leaving. Okay, it's coming out the solar plexus, and it's coming out of the medulla, whatever trauma from the past life created, or it was in this life that created it. So you're having a trauma release, basically. That's what's going on.
I actually thought at one point I might be sick. To be
Yeah.
honest, I was like, do that online.
Yeah. Well, this is you're getting a trauma release. The layers pop. Soul just gonna drain the vagus nerve of a bit more of the trauma and whatever was blocking the flow for you.
Mm,
That's what
yeah,
it's going to
thank
do. It's going to titrate it out of your system.
you. It's cool. Thank you.
So it's as easy as that. As easy as that. Okay. Anyone else want to share? Dedria or anyone else want to share either on the chat or Dedria? Come on. How was that?
Yeah, it was before we started, I was feeling just like really hungry and kind of like my brain was kind of scattered and running a mile a minute. And then we started, and I could feel myself starting to relax, but then I also felt like a lot of resistance to that relaxation. I also kind of started to feel nauseous and dizzy, and like the feelings of just kind of, again, like I don't even know how to describe it. It's almost like you're hungry, but you also feel sick at the same time. But now I feel very kind of calm and integrated, and kind of the feelings of restlessness that were going on in my head, the feeling of nausea has gone away, even the feeling of just feeling hungry and that I need to like sustain myself with something has also gone away.
Okay, so a layer's gone. Okay. Anyone else want to share? Thanks, Deirdre. Anyone else want to share, either in the chat or just turn your mic on from the attendee room? No? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the divine healing closing. If I open the space to align you to your higher self, I'm going to close it, and this should help you, especially you, Katie, integrate. Okay. So just got to find the right page on my paper manual here. Here we go. Let's do this quietly. So we're going to do a bit of soul retrieval first. Now we're going to do some more closing statements to reinforce the changes. I just feel gratitude for the closing and the changes which have occurred, and embrace the shifts by fully feeling them in your body. And wait until the energy is settled, balanced, and aligned before moving from your seat, as there are often higher level beings still working on you, okay? The corrections and balances. You can breathe through your mouth a little bit more now. Just bring yourself back. Open your eyes when you're ready. How's that feeling? Katie?
Good. There's less pressure in my head.
Yeah. You just had a big shift, so you just needed a bit of integration. So, yeah. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure, basically, a lot of pressure on your brainstem, your brainstem, a lot of pressure on the vagus nerve around there. Yeah.
From trauma.
Yeah. Quite a lot. Yeah. Okay. Tracy, how are you doing after integrating that?
Really good. I just have like, well, if we were to do family internal systems, I would say that I feel in self. So I feel absolute calm, just an overall absolute wellness.
Okay. Adria, do you want to share how you're feeling now? You had a strong response there.
Yeah, I feel really good.
Yeah.
Feel really calm, integrated.
Yeah, just making sure you guys are reassembled in the uniform before you go. So any questions on what we just did then? Anybody? We were all a bit chilled out. Right. In the chat, or just talk to me. Katie?
Yeah. Good guess. I have a question.
Yeah, I can see the speech bubble going pop.
I guess I'm a little curious. How does this stuff relate to the name stuff as well? Is this just sort of another facet of your work?
You can think of the soul contract work, it provides the spiritual map of life, it provides the map of potential, latent potential we're here to realize in the journey of life as we head back to source. A small part of the journey in this body, going back to source. Divine healing is the means of clearing that pathway of the emotional blockages to us traveling down that pathway. That's why the two go together. So the soul contract gives you the navigation, the spiritual map of life, how to navigate life. So you spend 80% of your time on 20% of the things that really matter, not the other way around, which is what most people do, as you might have noticed in your work. Extremely distracted, not much is happening, not much progress is being made, bouncing off the walls or padded rooms of their life. Just breaks out of that padded room and gets on. So we're going over here, and divine healing clears the pathway so they can actually make progress. That's how the two work together. Most of our practitioners do both for that very reason, because it's a very powerful combination. So once a client knows what their name is, they say, yes, okay, it's completely true. Let's go. I have the truth. I've spent so much time being stuck in the padded room. I want out and I want to get on with it. And they do. Life changes completely because you know what's important. And divine healing gives you the tool to actually clear the blockages. So rather than feeling the despair, which most people do, I can't clear this, or not even knowing you can clear anything, they have a tool. And they say to you, okay, Katie, this one's come up. Let's clear this abandonment. Let's clear this lack. And they just keep going because they know that they're confident in going in the right direction. You both know what's going on. So everyone just gets on with it. Life gets more in the flow. So life becomes completely different, or radically different. And they will completely flow with you regularly, simply because they know this is the fastest way to get back home to source, fastest way to get the things I really want. At last, I found something that works. So what do you think is going to happen? They're going to be talking to you pretty regularly. It's like, okay, months later, there's another one. It's very good for repeat business because it's so powerful, this thing. And it's so powerful to my healing that often in a session, a client will have no memory of what they just cleared. They just feel better. Because literally it lasers it out of every part of the ego. So there's not even a memory of it. That's how powerful this thing is. So they feel much freer. They know the change, but they can't put their finger on it. That's how clean this thing is. There's no residue. There's nothing to look at in the rear view mirror. Okay. Because that past is gone. So we focus on moving forward to create the future. As I was teaching you guys, focus on what we want to create. Okay? Not what's wrong. Because you focus on what's wrong, you get more of it. So the law of attraction. Focus on what we want to create, and everything in the way of that, as you experienced just now, is going to come up. And the ego is desperate to stop you. So we just keep pushing on it and pushing on it. So you force it to show itself, force it to show its shadow. And then we clear the shadow because it's vulnerable. If you hadn't pushed on it, then you wouldn't become aware of the shadow, what's in the way on the spiritual map of life. So what we're doing is going for what we want. Then we pay attention when something comes up. We're not ignoring what's in our subconscious, but we're just dealing with it as it comes up. Then we switch our focus back to where you want to go. And the soul contract's telling you the direction where you want to go. So life's a lot more efficient and happier, and you get there a lot quicker. This is how we do it.
Can I ask you a question about what you just said? I want to be respectful of other people's questions as well, though. With IFS, what we do is when we have something that comes up, you addressed this earlier, like a layer of the onion, it's going to make itself known to you, and part of your ego that's in need. What I do and what I teach my clients to do is go to the part of us that feels fear or shame or whatever it is, and bring self energy to that. So that could be bringing source energy. You could think about it that way. And then witnessing the pain, kind of similar to what we did today with, you said, witness whatever showed up.
Same thing, same idea. You bring consciousness to the thing the ego doesn't want you to feel. Because once you bring consciousness to it, you dissolve it, and you just dissolve the ego's control of that part of you. It's gone. Because you just got conscious. You say you do everything that it doesn't want you to do. You say, because it knows if you do that, that layer of its control is gone. That layer of kind of consciousness is gone. You're doing the same thing.
So yeah, I know, it's such a cool overlap. And so once you bring consciousness to it and it dissolves, that's when you refocus your mind on where you want to go. So whether
you go back to where you want to go, okay, and then in that use of your life force, Basically, what you're doing is you're starving the ego of your life force from creating all the stuff you don't want, because it'll create everything you don't want to stop you. If you starve it by focusing where you do want to go, it limits what it can do to stop you. Basically, we're starving it to death. That's what we're doing.
Well, thank you.
Okay? Because if you indulge it, it's just going to steal every bit of energy you got, and you get a lot of stuff you don't want, as you've noticed. Okay. All right. Any other questions, anybody in the chat or with the out loud? No? Okay. All right. One last slide. So here's my. Okay. So let's talk about divine healing a bit more. So basically, in summary, divine healing is a multidimensional system which is here to open you to grace. And it gives you this really simple, quick, and profound set of tools which you can use on yourself and others so you can reconnect with spirit, come into your power. I'm not allowed to say enlightenment anymore. Amara said, keys to higher consciousness. Okay, that's what you've got here with this tool. It comes from many different beings and groups in the high dimensions, which is unusual for a healing modality. And what it can do is this. Basically, it can make your life really happen. Mine did. I was very stuck up in 2006. Once I got hold of this, it's been a good couple of years really dismantling my ego, and then life really started to happen. And you can understand and transform the fundamental underlying programming, just like we described, create your life in each moment by basically ambushing it, really, bringing it into consciousness. Make dreams actually come true, move them from being dreams to actually manifesting. Develop, ground, and fully live your vision. Feel deeply, completely, and easily. Everything's just a program ultimately. Reconnect to your true essence, which is love, and tap into your gifts and qualities. And experience more love and joy, fun, and aliveness. This takes time and dedication, but it's a lot better than staying where we are. And create more flow, and you become a master of your life. You become in charge of your life, and the ego is no longer in charge. So what you're doing is that we're doing the following. I'm going to share a whiteboard. A couple more things to say to you guys. So we have time here. We have power. Initially, the ego is very powerful when we're born from the soul contract, but it diminishes over time if we work on it consciously. The power of the soul is not so strong when we start because the ego is more stronger. But if we apply things, healing like divine healing, for example, on this, the ego's power diminishes over time. And as a result, the soul's power increases because it's not being dragged down by the ego. And we reach a point, what we call soul integration, where the power of the soul is stronger than the power of the ego. And when you reach that point, you're hitting emotional escape velocity. That's when your life really starts to take off in a positive manner. And the purpose of divine healing is to get you to that point and beyond. So this thing, the ego's not dragging you down here. That's what we're actually doing here. And life really opens up. Okay. All right. So just get to, I can get it on my pen here. Look at that. Get to the last slide. So if you'd like to learn how to do this, this is our 4-day healing intensive. We have what we call, oops, let me stop sharing the screen. You can share a different screen here, slides. If you'd like to learn how to do this for yourself and for others. The next training is over 2 weekends. We call it the California Mom Special because they're the ones who asked me to do it on 2 weekends because of work. You guys don't get a lot of holiday in America. So it's next February 17th and 18th and 24th and 25th of February. So it's spring training. It runs at 12:30 to 8:30 p.m. UK. So where are you, Katie?
I'm in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
What time zone are you in?
Mountain Standard.
Okay, so you're 7 hours behind. So you would be at 5:30 a.m. 11:30 a.m. in the morning your time. Okay. On Zoom, so 4 1.5 hour sessions per day with breaks and meal breaks. We do this because I can teach to about 8:30 at night. It's about my limit because people used to fly from America a lot for the training. And so when you do this, people are a lot didn't mind getting up early, which means it's half the cost of not flying. But also means that we go out to 9:30 at night in Europe. So it's a compromise really to hit the Western Hemisphere. Tracy, what time zone are you in again? I can't remember.
Well, it's Eastern Standard, but we're in what do you call it? Daylight savings, so we're another hour. So currently at the moment it's 3:30 in the morning.
Okay, so it's 3:30, so it's
But it's actually, sorry, it's 3:50 in the morning.
3:50. So you are
I think it's 8 hours. You guys are 8 hours behind us.
yeah, so basically you'd be starting about 8:39 at night.
Okay.
But what we do is that we
That's
recommend people take no jet lag tablets, which you get in Australia and America if you're getting up late or early. And basically think of it as a long haul flight. So it floats your body clock. This is what the guys do, and it works quite well. Okay, we had this.
No jet lag tablets.
It's called no jet lag tablets. Just search for it on the web. It's homeopathic and it floats your body clock. So it's like you're getting on a 4-day long haul flight. The guys who did Soul Contract last week, who were getting up early, like you would have to, Katie, were doing it and they were fine. And you just go to sleep. You go to sleep earlier. Okay, everyone goes to sleep before the call. Not kind of straight. You go to sleep a few hours before you start, Tracy, and then you go to sleep immediately afterwards. Okay, and that seems to manage it. Okay, and in America, that's for you, Tracy. In America, Katie, you just go to bed earlier. Okay, so you still get 8 hours, and the people seem to manage it. Okay, and have a bit of a nap afterwards because it does throw the body clock out. Okay, that's how people manage. That's how we cover the whole world. We don't teach in Asia Pacific divine healing yet because there aren't enough people. But we do teach in Asia Pacific soul contract training. That's when I take no jet lag tablets. I get up at 4 in the morning and start teaching at 6. So it's 3 p.m. in Sydney. So when people in New Zealand, Australia, once they just started doing that, they were happy. So we'll come now because we can handle that. So okay. And yeah, if you want to come, find out more at the divinehealingtraining.com. Deposit is £193, about $225 US. The total fee, including that deposit, is £571 or about $660 US. So doing the training is equivalent to only about 5.5 hours of private sessions. So you have a tool you can use forever. So it's a much better deal. If you want a session, you can come to this, practically like the divinehealing.com, but it's a deal really, if you compare the cost, because you can work on everything pretty much with this. You can actually clear about 80% of your ego programs with this by yourself. The other 20% are core ego constructs, which require another therapist, someone in your class to hold space so you can get to it. So you can completely let go. But it's very powerful. And it's designed for self-empowerment, really. So the guys who do this radically change. Their lives radically change for the better. listening. So, okay, have that gave you a good feel? Any final questions, people? Yeah, so just email me if you have any other questions. Probably get the video out in the next few days. The video will retain the transmission, so don't listen to it in the car. It's very strong. You can actually clear many other layers of programming just with this video alone. I've discovered people were using it as a healing tool, and people were saying to me, "This is the most powerful healing I've ever had from anybody," and this was just watching the video. Okay, so yeah, just so you know, if you do this, you need to be in the same sort of sacred space that you are now. If you're going to do it, have a lot of water and rest afterwards because it is strong. Okay. All right. Nice to meet you guys. Hopefully we see some of
Thank you so much.
February, and may you get home to source with as much grace and ease and flow as possible. Okay.
Well,
Thank you for coming. All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
You too.